What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and this video I want to talk about 4 reasons I'm very excited for Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. Now, I've talked about this game a lot as we've gotten closer. We've talked about Majima in a standalone video. I talked about why I'm getting the game, but I wanted to break down these 4 things. I gotta say, I kind of cheated. One of them is important to me, might not be important to everybody else, but we're going to start with it first just to kind of throw it out there. The water mechanics, just seeing the water. I'm a big water guy, okay? And when I think about this game being taken place, on a ship as a big part of it, the seafaring kind of adventure, I think to Black Flag, which we're going to bring up as this video goes, but just how the water works, right? So I'm thinking about being out on sea, and I do think they've shown a couple clips where, like, the water's going to get kind of crazy, and there's going to be, like, storms and different stuff that's going to happen, and I'm just excited. I think they have a really cool potential here, and we'll talk about, not just the pirate kind of aspect of it, but to, kind of experiment and just kind of see what they're capable of doing. These games are generally pretty darn good to look at, and I'm just excited for the water part to it. So with that removed, let's go over, I guess, the 3 remaining things. We'll start with that AC Black Flag 2 type vibe, right? Now, I want to say this is like my number 1 thing, and it probably is if I were to rank it. Yet again, they would maybe have some close competition. I mean, this is part of the reason we're all excited, right? At least some of us, I would say. Black Flag is an amazing pirate game. It is probably the best. It's probably one of the most well-rounded pirate games we've ever gotten and will ever get just generally, right? I do think there's a market there to do like a AAA Witcher style, even like a Kingdom Come Deliverance if you want to go like super hardcore and do a pirate game, like where you could go on a ship, go on land, do these quests, right? It'd make it a little bit more than just ship stuff or, whatever you want to say. So I think this game, and I've said this before, this game is going to kind of fit like an interesting puzzle piece because I think it's going to be more arcadey. It's going to fill this void in our life, I think, left by Black Flag, but I think it's going to lean into that kind of, arcade-like style where you think about the Coliseum, right, that they're having in this game, and these kind of round-based things. And you look at the weaponry that Majima has and that you're able to equip on your ship. It's definitely a little bit more, again, like not super, super serious. Not that Black Flag was ever, again, the most, like, strict, most, neither of them are Kingdom Come, okay? Neither of them are these super, super hardcore pirate RPGs. They lean into a little bit of that like fantasy side to it, but I think this game is going to lean more into it. And I'm totally cool with that. I think that's one of the main kind of standouts is, because it's going to maybe feel similar to Black Flag, but what's it going to feel like to use plasma cannons, right? Like we saw that you can use in this game. Like, what's that feel like while you're also steering the ship? Because then it also brings back the mechanic of Black Flag of being able to board the enemy ship, and then you're kind of doing a Yakuza game, right? Because you got that brawler type style. So it's kind of mixing in a lot of different stuff that maybe we've seen before or changing up the formula just a bit. Again, it's probably number 1 if I'm looking ahead of myself here at the next 2. Yeah, it actually is number 1. Okay, third one, and this goes to that standalone video that I made. A reason why I'm excited is the story and Majima's return. And those 2 things really, I think, are closely related, right? So just having Majima back, I'm not going to spend too much time on it because I've already done a video on it, but I'm so excited. I'm so excited just to get him back. I think he's a great character. Just to hear the voice again and, the mannerisms and just, kind of experience that character. Because you don't really know, right? I've said this actually before in other videos, like there's a con to this where it's like if you don't nail the story, if you don't kind of take the advantage that you're given here with like, you can tell like a pretty complex story with him, even if it's a side spin-off type game, right? Like you can still do it. If you don't do it, like we really don't know the future of this guy. I'm sure he'll always be around, but I mean, he has been like put off to the side, like a lot of these games. Obviously, Yakuza 0 as the one that he kind of shared with Kiryu, but they've done cool stuff with him when he was on the side, and they've had cool kind of mini arcs. But like when you really focus on him, you haven't done it too much, and who knows if you'll ever do it again, right? It took a long time even for us to just get this, and even if you want to go back to Yakuza 0, it was 10 years ago we got Yakuza 0, so it's been a long time even since then, and just as a whole of this franchise, like you don't get a Majima game all that often, so you gotta lean into that, and I guess I'm hoping, right? I'm hoping that it's a great return to form, and I'm hoping that you tell a really cool story that, it's got its action, it's got its comedy, it's got his wild side, but it also can kind of lean into that depth and that multi-layered character that we know that he can be. We know that he is. It's just that he kind of hides it, right? So I want that. And that's something that, I don't know, I mean, it might actually be of equal importance to me as the ship stuff, because if the ship stuff is cool, but then they really tell like a terrible, terrible story, or it's just meaningless, I don't know if I'd be all that thrilled with this game. I think you kind of have to balance those two things. And the final reason is just kind of a break from turn-based. Now, I don't say this, and maybe the way I just said it, I kind of made it seem more negative than it really is. I don't mean it as a negative, okay? And I've said this actually the last 2-3 years. I really like this back and forth that we're getting here. I can play either or. I think they have done a phenomenal job at turn-based, like truly better than I could ever imagine. I got into these games and I played them, so many of them, back to back to back to back, leading into Infinite Wealth. Okay, now when I got to Yakuza 7, where they did that turn-based, I didn't know, because I wasn't paying too much attention to the franchise. I was just playing them again, like back to back to back, and I thought, you know what, this is a really good change of pace versus, because I was doing the brawler style, for 400 hours or whatever the heck it was, right? So you play it so often, and some things start to repeat, and just you want a little bit of a gameplay change too, and then you get it with that turn-based, and then Infinite Wealth, and I think Infinite Wealth is very refined. I think it is highly enjoyable to play, and I don't want to say it's that is like the perfect version of turn-based Yakuza, because they could always make it even better in the next game, right, in 9 or whatever, and I'm sure they will, to be honest with you. But I like the break. I like what the man who erased his name, just kind of going back to something familiar, but you know what, they kind of upped. I mean, I know like Judgment and stuff has also kind of overhauled it to some degree, but I like this back forth thing. Like, you're gonna get something that's a little bit familiar with that Mad Dog style. You're going back to that brawler stuff, but you're also getting the Sea Dog style, and you're also, again, taking a little bit of a break from turn-based, going to something that is familiar, something that we've done before in these games, and then we'll go back to turn-based. So again, I don't say it as a negative. I say it as, I think it's just cool that they do it, that we can kind of go back, forth, because they're both fun. I don't actually know at this point which one I like more, because I would have said brawler, kind of, the fighting style originally, but the turn-based is so freaking good. I actually don't know which one I prefer over the other. I'll take both. I'll take games that kind of alternate it, right? So that's kind of where I'm at with that stuff. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.